This year, one of the most profitable things I've done that's changed my strategy in trading is understanding the underlying range of an equity, stock, or overall futures. I'm not talking about a 5-minute time frame range. I'm understanding the underlying range in which the futures are moving on maybe a 2 to 4 day period, so I can capture those moves and understand when to change my thesis from bullish into bearish. So today, that's what we're going to attack and break down how you can identify those and make money every single day here in the stock market. And if you're wondering, yes, we are in trading purgatory. So I thought about this long and hard, and for the sake of this video, I'm going to use the S&P 500. I'm going to use a SPY, right? I wanted to use futures, but I think SPY will be more relatable to everyone. You can use this with futures. It'll help you along the way. Now, a few things that I recommend doing, if you haven't watched our levels video, understanding key levels, supply and demand, you might want to go watch those. But again, I'll explain everything in depth as much as possible here as well. So what we're going to do is identify a few ranges that kind of played out here and how you could have spotted them and how I traded them overall, right? And so one, you have a range here. One, you have a range up here when you break out, and then you kind of have a range up here where we're at kind of right now at all-time highs, which we're trying to break out of right now, right? There's 3 ranges ultimately there. Now, where you want to really spend your time here is the 4-hour and the 1-day time frame to identify these levels, okay? And I'm not going to do my trading based on those time frames, but I'm going to identify my key levels, resistances, zones from those, right? And then I'll break down the smaller time frames to make money off them, okay? Now, really quickly here, you're going to highlight just all your key levels that may be here. Now, this is your previous all-time high, so obviously that's a major key level. Now, when I'm spotting a pivot point like this, like the bottom, like right where it's going to be this will turn into a resistance next support, right? I like when you break down, they get a retest. You could also make a small little zone here, just to let you know. That's also a choice, right? I like this right here, this bottom as a bigger support because again, you broke down, came up, strong selling. I just like it more, but you can do it for the sake of the video. We'll make a little zone. Okay. That's what we'll do there. Right. And then we'll just bring this all the way across. Okay. And then that's where you were there. Okay. And then we'll come up here really quickly, identify what we're looking for here. Just your previous swing highs right there. That's what you're looking for. So again, boom, boom. And then up here, obviously new all-time highs up here. You can either mark here or you can mark your highs up here. Again, you can make a little zone if you need to. If you have a little swing, doesn't matter. But anyways, that's what you're looking for. And then your swing lows there where you're kind of just chilling out right now. Now that's ultimately 3 zones that you've looked at. And this goes all the way back basically from August 15th all the way into now, going into almost November. Okay. Now the hard part here, how do you trade the zones? How do you understand the zones? Now there's two ways that we look at this type of zone action to trade. Okay. Now, number 1, if you are someone that likes to trade, scalp, get in and out of trades, back and forth here, then that's your plan. You're scalping. You want to just focus on trading. You do not care about the breakout. That is not your focus. I will tell you though, you have a higher % chance of losing those types of trades. Okay, I will promise you. Okay, statistically speaking, you're gonna have a higher % chance of losing those types of trades. But if you are disciplined and you're able to say, okay, enough is enough, give me my money, get out, then I think there's a high chance of success possibly for you as well. So as you can see here, you can see we're coming up into the highs of the range. And this is why I always say zones. You'll see me mention key levels, but I like to always kind of round it out for wiggle room. And you can see here, we have levels coming into 563, 560, almost 564. We're kind of rejecting off of those. And it's all going to be based, let's go to the 15 minutes, get a little bit more volume and overall candles here as well, right? Just to make it a little bit more clear for you all. But you can also see coming into here, right, that some making a little bit higher, but again, you're always seeing these sell side wicks off those as well. And that's where volume really comes into effect and play to really identify when to get in, when to get out, when the trend is actually flipping. Again, volume video will really help you there. So when you find these zones, that's what you're looking for, right? Ultimately getting into the higher the range, averaging into a position, whether you have to do it, right? So I might be averaging when you're 563, average, tight stops above that range, maybe at 565.5 up here where I have stops. But ultimately, we're aiming back towards the bottom of that range, at least back into 557, right? As a scalping trader, that's your focus. And that's one way that you can attack these, okay? That's your focus. But you have to understand, as a scalping trader, I repeat, you are not focused on the breakout. That is not your money-making opportunity. You are not looking for the break, the retest, and continuation, right? That's more of a swing trade. That's more of a breakout trade. That's what you're looking for there. And that's my bread and butter, right? Doing that. Now on higher time frames and futures, you have to focus on trading the bing, 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 right? That's the focus, right? So there's 2 areas of this. If you're trading options, I personally believe The breakout is where you make your money. If you're trading futures, which is who I'm talking to right now, that's where you're making a lot of your money here, because you got to trade. You're trying to trade every day, every day, every day. Now, can you make money on futures to the downside in the breakout as well? You can, but you have to position differently. And I think you have to maybe size in a little bit differently as well, because we start to see that breakdown with continuation and with volume as you go to a higher time frame, and you can see what's really playing out there as well. So what I like to do here, again, you have to go to a higher time frame to identify this as well, to see the volume spike and what's really taking place there. But again, we'll notice here, right? This is a custom indicator as well. Links in bio if you're interested, but you can use any volume indicator. You can see as you're in this range really quickly, look at that, right? Low volume all throughout, low volume in that entire range, right? You occasionally get a wick of some volume, but you just regulate, and then you start seeing massive volume here, continuation volume to the downside. So your most volume and continuous volume comes out to the breakout. And that's how you know a breakout is happening, what's happening there. We also have videos going over stopping volume to get the reversal. But again, that was your big swing breakout trade there as well. And then ultimately trying to break back out and things along those lines. And you'll see this plays out time and time again of what you're really looking for there. So I want to make that very, very clear of what we're trying to look at there. And then when you get above this, again, it's the same thing for, again, future traders, whoever you may be, right? When I'm trading futures, this is kind of the bread and butter for me, right? You identify your range, and this range here is pretty large, 565 to 570. That's a 10-point range on SPY. ES can be even fatter, right? So what you're looking for here is to come back down into those previous highs, right? That 565, right? Boom, boom, boom. I mean, it came down here, almost came down here again, right? Getting multiple opportunities, and then you're just riding the trend back into local highs of that range, which really are going to be about a box from the high you made here at 575 to the highs you made here at 572. So if I'm trading this to the upside, I would have already taken profits, most likely near 5671. I would not have made money on the way back up here, but I'd be trying to focus on trading it back towards the downside until you break back out, right? Because yeah, you made a new high, but you failed and immediately sold back down. So this just becomes like the top of that range. And then you can see here, when you eventually try to break out, you have that big opportunity. And I'll show you with the volume once again. You break up, you retest, you shoot up. That's your breakout swing type of trade there as well. So there's two ways you're looking at this, right? These short, fast trades. You're not holding them for long periods of time. You're trading reactions. You're getting in, you're getting out. You're not being greedy. Here, you size in a little bit lighter, but you're looking to get a much larger move. You're looking to get a much cleaner move, right? Based on volume, based on speed of that move as well, right? So again, that's the focus here of what you're really looking forward to. And again, the same thing happens here. You kind of range up highs. You sit in your range. You ultimately break down, but you bounce where you need to. 575 key level, getting back into your range once again. And when you get back in the range back above 580, what do you look for? To trade back into 585, 584, and just range back here. You break out, you're looking for continuation volume to break you back to the upside. And then it goes on and on and on. I want to make a few things very clear. When we're looking at these ranges, past videos really give us the indication of when to get in versus when to get out. When I'm going over volume, yeah, I'm oversimplifying it for sure. I don't want to make a same video over and over and over, but I want to break down new parts of the education and new parts of the trade that you can identify with your trading. And so typically over the past 2 years, range trading has not been the money-making opportunity. But as I've looked at more funded trading and what's happening in futures, you're going to trade more of those ranges. Now, I'm not talking about trading a 20-point range on NASDAQ. That's ridiculous. But if you have a 200 to 300 point range, then you can definitely, maximize your opportunity based on those current situations. Going into SPY, that's how you've been moving recently. So if you are having to trade when it comes to futures, SPY, options, whatever it may be, yeah, you're going to have to take your foot off the gas when it comes to trading, Tesla, Apple, maybe Nvidia, and revert back to the S&P and to the NASDAQ. And that's really been kind of the focus right now for myself, because as we've been really pinching and consolidating on names like Amazon and Apple and, Tesla, right? These names, this video might go on for a year and someone might watch it later, but you're going to see exactly what I mean. You'll go through periods where your equities just don't move as much. And you have to revert back to, well, what can I trade and where is the opportunity? And that's the focus of what I do. The focus is not getting, blindsided and having tunnel vision on one specific trade, but taking the best opportunity that's in front of me. And that's a great thing about the market, is that there's 1,000 opportunities in front of you. Now, I will say for myself, there's usually only about 10. And when we look at that, I look at the Mag 7, top 10 holdings of the NASDAQ or S&P. And then I'm like, okay, well, if those aren't moving good, then I'm going to change my focus to seeing what our future is doing. And that's really what you have to do. And I really just want to have people prepared for any type of circumstance. So yeah, the range trading isn't the best. It's not my favorite situation to trade. But when you're looking at the range, a few things that are going to help you. And I recommend watching either the 9 EMA and the volume video, because those will really help you when trading these ranges. But I'm telling you, having discipline, having a trade plan. And I'm so careful to mention trading inside of ranges because of what I just mentioned as well. You get into these areas like, oh, well, it might break out this time. That's not your focus when you're trading a range. Your focus of trading the range is trading the top to the bottom of the range. You do not care about what's outside of that range because you are not the breakout trader at that moment. So understand that, identify who you are, and make sure you're focused on what your goal is with every single time you enter a trade, right? Where are you trying to get to? Where are you trying to get in? Where are you trying to get out? And journal all of that as well. I literally am begging